The Military Aviation Museum is a historic reconstruction to the best of our ability to tell people about the sights, sound, and smells of the greatest generation. We have aircraft from 1909 up through early Korea conflict, so 1950-52, mostly propeller driven. What's unique about this museum, it's a living museum in that our aircraft still fly. That's special. It's a little different than the Smithsonian, some of the national aviation museums are. So the people get to experience and feel and get a sense of the size of these aircraft. We don't rope them off. We let people get right up close, crawl under, see the bomb bays, torpedo bays. They can see the immense size of these and imagine what a 21, 22-year-old, 18, 19-year-old kid that was flying these during the war off of small escort carriers, off of airfields and Army airfields, all part of what it took to win World War II and the Korean conflict. And we get into a little bit of the Great War back in World War I as well. Our founder felt we needed something like this in the Mid-Atlantic region, and he started collecting, and he put together a very large collection. He has since turned that over to a foundation, of which we're continuing and to keep these aircraft flying as we safely can. These aircraft that we have in our collection, some have been built from multiple aircraft to make a flying replica. Some are in its entirety, in its whole, that it's still the original piece. Our Corsair is one of the original aircraft, minus maybe a few engine parts, things like that. It was one of the low times it did not see combat. It was built in late 44, early 1945. And it ended up being more of a trainer and aircraft used after the war. So that's an example of our load time. But we have a Spitfire and Hurricane that were in the World War II, in Battle of Britain. And what our founders tried to do is find local connections for these aircraft association. For example, our Hurricane, the gentleman that flew a Hurricane in the Battle of Britain, his parents were dual citizenship, American and British. They moved to England when he was 13. Just before the war, and as he grew up and the conflict began, being a dual citizenship, he could become a Royal Air Force pilot, of which he was, and flew and survived the Battle of Britain, survived the war. He returned to America after the war and became a professor at UVA, the University of Virginia, and retired as that. He did get to see our aircraft as a restoration, and it has his side number on it, the type that he flew. So that's the type of connections that we try to do related, and so people understand these aircraft and what was going on here at the time of the war. The Warbird observation deck, it's sitting over behind me. You see the nice big wall behind us. It overlooks our ramp and runway. We have a grass runway right here that we operate these aircraft on. So it allows people, the vision is, we're going to tell 2 or 3 stories in this observation deck. One of the areas is how do we restore these aircraft? What does it take? How do you start from a piece of metal to a flying replica or a flying actual aircraft? The restoration project takes several years, depending on the condition of the aircraft, of how it's found, timing, when we can get to it. We don't do that restoration necessarily here. Usually it's the maintaining the aircraft and keep them flying, and minor repairs that our great fighter factory group does here. They're professional A&P mechanics that keep track and keep these aircraft in flying condition. Another wall back here in this observation area is the history of our founders, Jerry and Elaine Yeagan. What his love of aviation through his lifetime, how he built this, so as a tribute to them. They're both still local Virginia Beach residents, so it's a special program project that we're putting together for that. Also in the observation deck, we have binoculars, so you can look down, almost look into the cockpit with that. We have tall ones and short ones for both ADA capable and children and adults. We're going to have a flight tracker, because sometimes we do fly to regional air shows, so they can follow along on the moving map where our aircraft are that are around in the summertime when we do go to it. So it's a hands-on aspect, a sitting and relaxing area, as well as being able to still be a part of our aircraft if you don't want to be right outside in the heat or the noise. These grants are important because we are a nonprofit museum. We are not a government agency. We are privately held. So the money that we get through admissions, through special events I have in the evenings, like weddings, corporate events, dinners, retirement ceremonies. That all contributes to help keeping the doors open, but the grants let us target a specific project that we want to do to bring in for the kids, again, the kids of all ages, of different aspects. We just opened a pilot training exhibit, and it talks about how do we train all these pilots, male, female, black, white, Canadian, American. What type of flight training did they go through? We have simulators that the kids can play with that are actually 3 of our aircraft that we have in the hangars that actually fly. So they can actually fly them and get an understanding, or at least get a chance to see it, again, hands-on. We have artifacts that show how the pressure instrumentation system works on an aircraft, how the rudders and flight controls work, and they can touch it and feel it. We worked hard to get exhibits that let people touch, because these aircraft, we don't want them touching. They can't climb on, they can't climb in them, because they're going to break switches and break it, because these aircraft we pull out and fly. So it's a safety issue why we ask them not to touch the aircraft. So we're working hard, and grants allow us to do this, build exhibits that either replicate the aircraft, have components from aircraft pieces that aren't used anymore, that they can actually touch, feel, and get a feeling for the size of an engine, for what rudders, how the flight controls work, and flying. We can't thank enough the Virginia Humanities at WHRO for the grant that they provided to help us with this restoration. It's going to be, it just adds to it and helps. Going to be a wonderful, wonderful exhibit when we get it finished. We're hoping to get it done here early summer. I kind of guess the deadline for the grant, but we're working on it. It's with our graphic artist right now. It's gone from script, it's going to visual design, and then it'll go to printing and it'll get it up on the wall.